Fans of the number one Hoodie Org NA rejoice. Your favorite podcast is back. This is Fast Peak Last Week.
Ooh, Cole, I brought the hoodie out for this one. Oh, it's so nice.
I should have worn a hoodie because we're a Hoodie Org.
The number one Hoodie Org, Cole. Don't get it twisted. Come on. Oh. I can hear that now. It's great. It
Jordan
sounds
can
amazing.
hear the air horn now. Isn't that great?
I love it. I
Production.
love the air horn.
We're leveling up every time we do this.
Cole.
Yes, sir.
The season's over. There is no season of Valorant. The season is over. The year is over. The calendar is concluded. We won't see our boys play Valorant again for a little bit. I feel sad inside my body, but it's okay because we'll be back. It's time to Fast Peak Last Week.
Let's do it.
We're going to start them off, Cole, with a few topics. I don't know if you've seen this section before, but here's how it goes. I'm going to start my timer. I'm going to say some things to you, Cole. I'm going to start with this. The JBL Cup. The finest cup in Valorant, but it ain't no first strike. This is not the first strike main event. Cole, we lost it. But I got a question to ask you. How sad are you?
I'm not sad at all. I am smiling. The sun is shining bright. When I woke up this morning, I poured me a bowl of 13 Cheerios. I had 13 bites of my toast. I drove 13 miles an hour all the way to work.
It's good. It's a lucky number too. Yeah, so there you go.
It was. I'm feeling just fine and dandy, Jordan. This might not be a first strike, but it does not matter. It was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it was full of opportunity, full of just joyous occasions. The tweet you did of you laughing, I think, is one of my all-time favorite tweets. So well done, sir. If you missed that one, go back in the timeline. Here's how I feel about it. We talked about this last time a little bit. I always want to see us win. I'm always going to want to see us win. We could be playing for the popsicle stick trophy from Mrs. Smith's 4th grade class, right? And I want to see us win it. This is not a no stakes tournament. There is money on the line. There's a cup. I assume. I haven't seen it, I guess, but I think it's there. So yeah, I like to see us win, but at the same time, we were doing things a little differently, right? Like, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to any of the POV streams, but Nitro was shot calling for at least some of these matches. I don't know. I didn't watch every.
Yeah, I think up until the last Sentinels map even.
Yeah, so we were trying some new stuff. And I'm not pointing to that as an excuse to say, don't worry about it. Everything, we were just joking. We were memeing. But I think in these kinds of tournaments and these kind of positions, this is where you want to see the team experiment with new things, try new looks, bring out a new IGL. They're trying stuff.
And I gotta say, if we are just messing around and experimenting and we look that good, I'm a happy camper. And that is the end of this topic. Let's move on.
Boom. It's good news because the next topic is actually related, Cole, and it is this. We are officially, and we will hold this title forever, the number one Hoodie Org NA. That's a 13-0 for the record books. I know how you feel about it because you caught the moment on camera. I'm glad that you had it handy.
I'm still doing the exact same thing right now. Every time I think about it, I can't stop laughing.
Going into this one, Cole, we talked about how we were trying to feel it out, right? Like, there are teams we still got to address. We have some history with. We need to go back, revisit this, and really come to terms, Cole, with this team. Envy was one of those teams. I would say that we came to terms with that. How do you feel we did?
Well, see, this is the thing, right? It's like, and I tweeted before anything happened. I was like, look, this tournament means absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean anything about the standings unless, of course, we crush, and in which case it definitively proves that we're the number one team in NA. Right. No, here's the thing. That's like, there is a difference between we played a match and we won, or we played a match and they won, and we played a match and we 13-0'd a team who was supposed to be the rightful heir to the crown that we just took.
Yeah.
It's different. So it's like, I know it doesn't matter. I do. And I gotta say, I even think that they were trying harder than us for, for the first half of the map until it became glaringly obvious what was happening to them. But that said, it's like when we stomp that bad, it means we're gonna have a mental advantage over them for the foreseeable future anyway. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like there are very few ways that these matches are going to mean anything, right?
Right.
But we found one.
We found one of the few ways. Yeah.
So to me, it's not like, look, it's not like, oh yeah, like 100 Thieves is, definitely the best there is or whatever. But we 13-0 to Envy, man. We are freaking scary.
Yeah, they didn't get around. And I think that's right. That's the takeaway is the next time they load into a map against us, they're going to be thinking about that. And they're probably going to be mad, right? So they'll be playing mad, whatever that means for the occasion. But it's embarrassing, right? It's one of those things where you don't have a lot to lose unless that happens to you. And that happened, Cole. We got them. 13-0. Best Hoodie org NA.
Next topic.
We didn't win the cup. We lost it to Sentinels in 3. And granted,
in the semifinals, we should add.
In the semifinals, yeah. We made it out of groups. We walked through groups, clean sweep. There were some close matches for sure. But Sentinels got us in 3. So in the same way that we were just talking about this cup overall not meaning a lot, there still is part of me, I think, that looked at this match specifically, and there were things I saw that I left feeling like I think they're better than us at that. So those things I suppose you can take from a game like this, and I'll just get right to it. Shazam was a problem for us. Mm-hmm. His op is on a different level. The dude, I don't know how many times he 1v3'd or at least left with a 3K, right? Like he was getting picks everywhere. Icebox especially, it felt like he had wall hacks on. Like we couldn't get at the guy. What did you leave this match specifically taking from it? Was it the same thing as me? Was it different? Like, how are you feeling going into 2021 with Sentinels potentially a team we're going to face off against?
I think that with basically no preparation, with very little amount of seriousness, we almost beat Sentinels, who 13-1 TSM, and who, after, besides Envy is the team a lot of people are pointing to as, well, they're the actual best team. So if we come away from this tournament having barely lost to them when we're barely trying, but they have a little bit more to prove, I'm feeling, again, fine and dandy. The sun is shining. There's no rain in the sky. Look, we lost it. And again, I will say, I think that during this match, it felt like we were genuinely trying some things. Yeah. But man, we had no preparation. We don't know what we're doing on Icebox yet. Like, it is what it is. And we still almost beat this team who pretty much rolled everybody else. So like, look, everybody's going to have, off moments, imperfect matches. I cannot look at this and feel sad or upset about it. All I can feel is like 100 Thieves is fully legit.
Yeah. Yep. Fully legit. Sentinels went on to 2-0 phase in the finals, the grand final. So they were the best team of the cup.
If anyone cared.
I didn't think that FaZe would challenge them because they went 1 and 2 in groups. Like, okay. So that was a bit of a weird outcome, but it is what it is, Cole. Moving on to our final topic in the Fast Peaks. We are still seeking a rival. And I don't think it's Envy. I think that we can cross that one off the list. TSM, I guess if this was meant to be their rebound to losing the main event, I don't know how the plan went wrong on that one, but they looked like garbage. So I mean, they lost as bad as Envy did. I think twice maybe. I think there were two matchups where they got 1 or 2 rounds. It's crazy. Maybe they weren't trying. Who knows? Who's our rival, Cole? Do we have a rival yet? Can we say it? Is it any clearer after this? I mean, I'll want to beat Sentinels next time we face them because it feels like we can, but we beat them in the past. And I think Sentinels and TSM still have this weird buddy buddy thing, probably, even though I'm not sure why they do at this point if they claim to. What do you think?
I still don't think that we have like a well-defined rival. I still think that is budding in this scene. And yeah, the other teams seem to have stronger relationships in whatever ways between each other than we do. I don't fully understand it. I would have expected something more serious to emerge by now.
Yeah.
If I had to bet, I would say we're closer to having an actual rivalry with Sentinels than anybody else. TSM, I think, we were toying with that idea for a while. But yeah, there's just not and part of it is probably due to the fact that there's not enough history with our team. I mean, we've been a team for like 2 months, right? And I mean, some of these teams we've seen multiple times. We've seen Sentinels multiple times. I think for me, part of it is when the next major comes around, what are the teams people are talking about to be finalists? And it's going to be us and Sentinels. So, in that sense, maybe there's potential for a rivalry to develop, but that the jury's still out on that one. And we'll see. I mean, our players seem to be guys who have fun, who troll and do not take it too seriously when other teams troll. So it'll be interesting to see if we have like a true rivalry develop.
Yeah, we're getting good banter still, which I love. It'll be interesting to see what the off season, if you want to call it an off season, right, end of the calendar year, looks like for TSM C9. They had bad showings at the cup here. Those organizations will be back. They will, if they need to retool, they'll be back. So I think there's still potential there for us to develop rivalries with these other big teams. Super exciting to go into 2021 for a number of reasons, one of them being more 100 Thieves Valorant. And so concludes, Cole, the first chapter of this venerable podcast.
Everybody give yourselves rounds of applause.
We made it again, guys. We made it again. Look, usually this is the part of the show where we talk about how we're all about to get smarter because Simo's going to come in here and bless us with his Valorant wisdom. Unfortunately, he is trying to jet lag himself from casting Valorant like 12 hours in a row over multiple days in Asia. So trying to unflip his sleep schedule, not able to join us today. Best wishes, Simo. We'll see you soon. Here's what we're going to do instead, Cole. This is going to be called 2020 in 5. And if you're not good at math, I'll break that down for you. It's the year 2020 in 5 topics. Cole, we're doing more of what we're good at here. 2 minutes on the clock. I want to talk to you about the 5 biggest storylines of the year 2020 for 100 Thieves Valorant. And I see some people in chat asking and talking about Dicey. We have an Incendiary, what we'll get to towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that. So without further ado, let's get into this, Cole. The first one, if you will go back in your time machine, is that 100T enters Valorant announcing Hiko as the key player. So what I want to do is do a bit of retrospective with all that we've learned in 2020, looking back on this. What does this mean now? Kind of reflect on where we've come since then, what impact this still has on us as a team. How are you feeling about kind of this moment in history for 100 Thieves Valorant?
There's 2 main thoughts I have. The first one is obviously the signing of Hiko meant we were serious about Valorant because he was one of the top prospective talents. Like Hiko, one of the most sought after players in the scene. So the fact that we paid for him, we went there, we got it done, excellent. That demonstrated a commitment from 100 Thieves that, for whatever reason, I disagree with this, but for whatever reason, a lot of fans felt we might be lacking, right? So that entry, proved that. Now, the other part of it, which this kind of blends into the next one, is the Highgrounds roster, right? We signed 4 guys from Highgrounds who were more unknown players. They had team synergy, but they weren't quite stars, right? So we took a chance on pairing them with Hiko, and that didn't it would. I just want to focus on the rockiness with Hiko himself.
Yeah,
Hiko did not handle this very well, and we don't know what happened behind the scenes, but the messaging was not good, and things were sloppy. Hiko did not get behind them with confidence. That had me seriously worried about the team for a while.
Right. Yeah, we've seen star players who have not worked out, right? We've learned from League that you can't count on somebody being a world caliber player and automatically being a safe bet. The thing that I reflect on now is I think this is a well-placed bet. I think he is still exactly the player you want to build a team around. And I think that our first strike win is a strong example of just how valuable he has been and will continue to be to this organization. So that 2 minutes went quickly. Cole, let's move to the next big thing that happened. And that is that you mentioned we signed Highground. We also released them. So that's the second one we're going to hit on here. It didn't work. We'll summarize that part by just saying it didn't work. But I want to talk about, there was a lot of uncertainty at the time that we actually announced that we were releasing that. Like, I think, thinking back, people were like, 100 Thieves folds again, right? They're out of another sport. Here comes CSGO next. Yeah, we were a meme. We got called the Hoodie org. People thought we weren't serious, yada, yada. We have the only championship now. So I guess that's kind of what overrides all of these. But talk about, that was a big bet to sign that roster and to release it. So talk a little bit about how you view that now at this point in time.
Well, yeah, there's the whole sunk cost fallacy, right? Where once you're into something, it can be hard for people to let go, right? Because you have to admit that you made a mistake. You have to admit that you poured resources into something that's not paying off. And you have to have the courage to pull the plug on that and admit you were wrong. That is a very hard thing to do, especially in an ego-driven world like esports. And Melk, whoever else behind the scenes is making these shots or calling these shots, he did that. Owned that decision, evaluated it, saw that the results weren't there, and made quick and decisive action. Decisive action that came at a speed, which I'll mention, probably saved the reputation of 100 Thieves Esports. Because if we like kind of waffle on that for too long and the opportunity is just goes by, we're not able to get the players that we actually ended up getting. Putting together this roster, we might be an esports meme forever. So this was one of the biggest decisions that was made, and huge kudos for that, because it takes a lot to be able to back up and say that.
Yeah, and this is going to transition to the next part. I'm not going to finish this in the time we have left, but I'll say, queuing up our next one, which I'll move to right away here. It's very quickly after that, like you mentioned, Cole, 100T 2.0 was formed for Valorant. And I think it's so important that it is all too common for fans to look at what a team does wrong and talk about it and assign blame. And that's super important to do. And then once the team rebounds and takes another pass at it, acknowledges they've made mistakes, improves, to not then have the same conversation about the same people you were just talking about having made mistakes, and assign the same credit where it's due. And in this case, I think, for whatever reason, right, it's less important now, the reasons they decided to sign the Highgrounds roster that they did. What they ended on, this new roster, it's truly, it's the best in the game. Like what we're seeing is, at least in this one most important moment, it was the best roster, and it led to great success in a super fast window. I don't know if anybody was expecting that. So how are you thinking about the roster now? Talk a little bit more about, I think, the decision that was required to get here, right? Like, I don't want to skim over that part, because I think too often people just assume the stuff naturally happens. It doesn't just happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, because of the sensitive nature of the Hiko thing, like how Hiko and Highgrounds interacted, it just upped the degree of difficulty on this, right? Because ego management is a big thing for general managers and coaches, right? In just traditional sports, esports, whatever. And you had a star who pretty much publicly trashed the decision you made and distanced himself from ownership of that decision. That is a bad situation. That's bad messaging. It's bad leadership. You don't want that. At the same time, Hiko is a star, right? And you got to keep a star happy. They found a way to do that by signing two guys he super believed in and knew he was going to do well in, and then by all accounts, listened to his input on the young guys that were brought over from the Immortal squad. And I mean, again, humility involved in that decision. It's still risky because you're capitulating to a star instead of retaining full control over what you're doing. And for all I know, Melt could have fully agreed with these decisions. But I'm just saying, in like the way that it comes off, it's like Hiko didn't get what he wanted at first, cried about it when it went bad, and then got what he wanted later, right? So it kind of seems like a spoiled child situation, right? Which is never a good look. But they handled it very well. Like they handled it with a lot of like dignity, and like they didn't dwell on those facts too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hiko brings them up from time to time in his interviews. It's kind of annoying, but it didn't end up like snowballing into like a huge thing, which could have reflected bad on the org. So the org saved face, they kept a star happy, and they built a championship roster, which brings us into our next thing. You can't do better than that.
Yeah. And let's go right into the next topic here. We are the First Strike champions, right? 2020 brought us another championship. Feels good. We've talked about kind of the management here. I think the management showed that they are championship caliber. That's, I guess, literally by the definition of that phrase, they are that because they won a championship. It was through their decisions that they got there. The players show they have it. Then there's a lot of, speculation, storylines, this retirement home. Are these guys just here to collect a paycheck? They've showed that no, they're not. They're going to put in the reps. They're going to grind, and they're going to do it quickly because it didn't take them more than a couple of months to get that first trophy. And, I think if you're a betting person, you've got to assume that these guys are going to at least be in the conversation for future trophies as well. This was not a fluke. This was not an accident. We got the chip, and it feels good. So I spent a whole show talking about that, but retrospective now for you, what are you, how are you contextualizing that win in the year 2020?
I mean, you said it's not a fluke, but Hayes said it was, Jordan.
I guess the verdict is out. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Yeah, no, like how can you expect a team to come together this quick and get a championship? Like that's very unheard of, right? And they did it, and they still look freaky. Like it does not look like a fluke at all. And again, how can you want more? You brought pride to the org, you brought a banner, you brought a trophy, you brought respectability, you turned the Hoodie org thing into a meme in the other direction now. Yeah, there's nothing we didn't win from this. We won everything. We took everything. It's probably like esports wise, it may be the single best thing that has happened under Thieves. Like it may be better than our COD championships for the rep of the org. And that cannot be understated. Like it is a huge deal. And that makes me super proud. And I'll say, actually, no, I'll let you go to the next thing. I'll work it in.
Yeah. Yeah, and Cole, the topic I picked for this last one is ending the year with a meh, and let's contextualize that because this is not. I don't want to give the impression that I'm feeling meh about the program because it's the opposite. I'm feeling I couldn't feel better about the program.
Yeah,
it's a bit odd to have the last thing we do, like the sign off, be this cup that is it doesn't result in anywhere near the same prestige, even if we win it. Right. So it's kind of like a strange note to end on. But I think that that's maybe the most important thing. And I'll just kind of do a summary here for myself. It's Hayes said fluke. Right. And we've talked about it. I think in all of our minds as fans of 100 Thieves, there's a little bit of this question mark starting to form, right, on what is our esports identity? And is it, we had great success in Fortnite. We left CSGO. League of Legends started strong, has been basically ramping down. It's been kind of like an inverse bell curve. Hopefully we keep going up. This puts to rest any of the idea that we struck gold with the COD guys and then franchising hit and that is gone. Right. And we should also bid farewell to our championship status. We're champs again. It feels fantastic. And that for me is what 2020 Valorant has been. It's crazy. It's crazy and an incredibly unlikely place for this to end, but I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, we got everything we wanted. We got everything on the Christmas wish list, right? We got a 13-0 against the team that was supposed to take us down and that tried to meme us. I can't say that enough. But it's not to say that we don't have anything to work on. We're not a perfected team. All right. I like to actually, I'm going to call out this take in the chat. We don't usually read chat on stream, but Styles MM said, it's crazy. We're a top 2 team with an Opper who's maybe top 5 when Oppers are the hard carries of the team. And I'll say like that's, if we have a concern going forward, I think like the biggest thing that is like a concern is Dicey's performance. It's kind of like the end of First Strike and then throughout JBL. It was kind of like, just not that great.
Yeah.
If that is the biggest problem that we have, I'm feeling ecstatic. I can run you off like a dozen things that are seriously concerning about the League of Legends program. If the biggest program for Valorant, or the biggest problem for Valorant is, Dicey was excellent for a while and he fell off a little bit. He's been struggling even though he's showing up and like winning rounds at very important times for us. It's not like he fell off a cliff. He still played all right. Yeah. And honestly, he's young. He doesn't have a ton of experience. I believe that he's in the best possible situation to pull out of whatever slump that is, if we even want to call it a slump. Yeah, he didn't look amazing. But it's like, the fact is we're comparing that to what he has been for us historically in a short time with us, which has been even better, right? So it's like, if that's our biggest problem, man, I'm here, man. Like I'm ready to go. Like 2021 is going to be sick.
Yeah, we can workshop that. Cole, this is the perfect transition to the final segment of the night. Hit us with a Molly.
Molly. Boom.
And let's do some incendiary takes. Cole, this one's coming from our own BC. BC, we see you. I'll read it to you. Dicey on Sage makes more sense currently for the team. Not to say Dicey's bad, but he's inconsistent and young, meaning his play is up and down. And with Sage, his barrier for failure is much lower than something like Jet. Also, he's playing the main op role, but honestly, Steel and Nitro are both better operas currently. So this gets at a lot of what we had started talking about, Styles, what Styles is saying in chat.
Yeah.
I think this is right. If there is a thing for us to start looking at, I think Styles said it well. That's your opera is your hard carry. And I mentioned it with Shazam. We're seeing it all over the place, right? You look at Wardell. He is single-handedly able to carry his team through a lot of situations he shouldn't be able to. He's pulling off, point blank, no scopes. It's sick. I won't forget that soon. So here's what I think we ought to think about and come to terms with a little bit is, how can we be even better? Which, when you just won a championship, that's a great position to be in.
Heck yeah.
You're talking about ways to, refine a championship performance. And it feels like there is something there to think about. Personally, I think I'm more with you on this. I mean, I think that if you're paying attention to this team, it's the thing that pops out to you, right? He isn't yet at that level. But I think the keyword there is yet. The other thing we've learned from League of Legends is you really have to give people time. Right. You have, especially these younger guys, if you move too quickly from somebody, just because they're not as hot as they have been, I think you position yourself to perhaps lose out on what could be great. And it adds disruption to the team, right? All of these things, right? If you start thinking about, okay, well, maybe we move off the op role, maybe we switch people, maybe we start scrimming with, a backup, like whatever. I don't know that people are saying that, but that's the kind of thing that I think we just have to be careful about because, one, we're good. And two, there's a ton of upside there. He's still super young. It's been a very short time. So how do you think about all those things in relation to what both BC is saying and the observations you've made as a fan over these last couple of matches we've watched?
I think, like, it makes me wonder if I'm kind of crazy, but I'm like, to me, these are not problems. Like, it's like we've got this kid who's 17 years old, right? He's got no experience. We can't,
except for a championship.
The thing, yeah, right. The thing that I would take issue with that you're saying is, it's like, yeah, he hasn't like gotten to that level yet. It's like he has, though. In like earlier matches, he was going off. He looked amazing in multiple matches earlier on. So it's like he has already hit that point. We just need to get him back there.
That's right.
He might be nervous. This is his first time going after like a major. Like, he might just be in a short-lived slump or whatever. And if you're if while you're slumping you win a title, okay. Like, I understand that he has not played as well as we would like him to recently. Okay. I have no issue with that concern. Like, yes, that is true. I'll give it to anybody. He's under the tutelage of 3 amazing boomers with super sick CSGO knowledge, right?
Right.
Tons of experience. And he's not in there by himself. He's not swimming in the ocean by himself. He's got another 17-year-old on the team to help him navigate this, right? So he's got the boomers tutoring him. He's got a Zoomer companion. Like he's
got everything he needs.
Right. Yeah. It's like I just have every faith that he's gonna pull through this, you know, and I'm saying pull through this like he's in dire straits or not, and he's not. We just won a freaking title, so let's just enjoy it, man.
Right. But that's important. I mean, here's how I think about it, and after this we'll probably wrap because I think we're pushing up against the limits of our incendiary segment here. But if we can get him to consistently perform at the level he has, this team is unbeatable. Right now in the current NA landscape. I truly believe that if he can have the performance, if he can put the other team's opera in check, if he can dominate like he did against Wardell, this team doesn't lose. We're not going to lose. We're too good at too many positions. And if our opera is hitting like some of the other operas we've been up against these last couple of matches, we don't lose. So for me, that's like, it's hard not to immediately look at that as a fan and say like, oh, I want that. You know, that would be great. Because of course it would. But I think you're absolutely right. It's important to exercise restraint and keep things in mind here that even with his less than absolutely dominant performances that we've seen in the past over a course of like 6 total matches, by the way, very small sample size, we're still really good. And it's not a big problem, I'd say.
And can I say something else? This dude has confidence. He has personality. He has swagger.
Yeah.
At his age. So it's like on top of all this, it's like he's such an enjoyable person to have as part of the team. It's kind of like Enable, right? For Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Where it's we didn't always get the best out of Enable. We did in some key moments, right? But we didn't get him at his peak, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
But he was so good to have on the team for many reasons. And I feel like Dicey falls into that category. And for me, like I love him as a personality too. So yeah, man, I just like we're picking nits like crazy right now, trying to find out what's wrong in a minor sense with a championship team. It's like I'm just, 2020, everybody needs a dub, and this is our dub. And I'm just gonna enjoy it, man.
I think that's the note to end on. This is our dub in 2020. Thank you, 100 Thieves Valorant team. You have made it fun to be a fan in 2020 again. Yeah, Dicey, we love you. We can't wait to see you absolutely cracking people again in the near future.
Send him some coconut water for Christmas.
Send him some coconut water. The kid will be back, and he'll be making us feel silly that we even thought about talking about this, but here we are. That's going to do it for the year, Cole. We won't be back except to talk about all kinds of other stuff. Fast Peak last week is officially on hiatus for at least probably 2.5 weeks. We'll see what the new year brings. It's been fun to launch this show. It's been fun to watch us win a championship. It's been fun to hang out with you guys in chat. It's been fun to talk to you about Valorant, Cole.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I didn't anticipate we're sitting here saying goodbye to the competitive year of Valorant, but
I know
it's a good
here
point.
We are. Here we find ourselves.
Let me cue up the Vitamin C graduation song.
Yeah, you cue that up, and while you do, let's roll credits. Fast Peak last week is produced by Cole Eisenbarger. It's written and directed by Jordan Wicker. Our key grip is Cole Eisenbarger. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next year.
We love you and we miss you already. You gotta say take care.